Recall that the Phillips curve is a relationship between unemployment and inflation. So we'll put unemployment down here on the bottom of our graph, and we'll put inflation here. So we have inflation on the vertical axis and unemployment on the horizontal axis. And essentially, the relationship which the Phillips curve explains is that as inflation decreases, unemployment will increase in terms of monetary policy. In other words, contractionary monetary policy will decrease inflation but increase unemployment. And that's exactly what Paul Volcker, one of the famous Federal Reserve chairmen, did. So let's say we were somewhere up here on the Phillips curve. In other words, we had very high inflation and we had very low unemployment. Except that over time, what happened? Well, over time, the high inflation caused high unemployment as well. In other words, it actually caused the Phillips curve to shift so that you could have high inflation and still have high unemployment. In other words, our new Phillips curve became more vertical. Okay, so it's getting a little messy. Let's draw a new graph and see what happened. So again, we'll put inflation on the vertical axis. We'll put unemployment on the horizontal axis. And here is our Phillips curve. So what Paul Volcker does is he says, okay, we're all the way up here. Inflation is very high. We need contractionary monetary policy to bring inflation way down. And he does. He cuts inflation by about 5 or 6 percentage points. Okay. Unfortunately, what that does is it also causes unemployment to go up. In fact, unemployment broke double digits and remained there for several years, the first time that had happened since the Great Depression. However, this movement along the Phillips curve, because he was able to wring inflation out of the economy by increasing interest rates, it set up the United States economy for one of its best decades of economic growth in history. And by keeping inflation relatively low ever since, we have had relatively robust growth for 30, 40 years.